I've been scaling e-commerce brands and dropshipping stores for over 6 years now, including one brand that I took from 0 to 5 mil in rev in just a little over a year, as well as a new store from 0 to 1.5 mil in rev just recently as well. And in this video, I'm giving you the exact playbook to scale an e-commerce brand from 0 to 7 figures in 2026. I'll be covering product selection, how to actually do product research, how to set up your store, my meta ads testing strategy, creative strategy, and how to actually scale by building a proper team. So pretty much by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to build and scale a real e-com or dropshipping store from 0 to over 7 figures. So if you're tired of wasting time testing products that just don't go anywhere, following gurus that don't even run stores anymore and giving outdated advice, or wasting money on ads with no clear system, if you're tired of all that, then you're gonna wanna sit through this entire video. Let's get into it. Module 1, product selection. Let's talk about how to pick the right product, because the rest of the advice that I'm going to give you in this video doesn't matter at all if you don't pick the right product. And stick with me here, because this isn't going to be basic advice. The basic advice you hear on YouTube is not how I scale multiple brands past 7 figures. The problem I have with most advice on YouTube is the average YouTube guru is going to tell you to hop on Calidata, find a winning product that's trending, rip it 101 and rip all their creatives, or just super generic advice that doesn't really help you find real winners that scales. The biggest problem is if you just follow this generic YouTube advice, you're going to be stuck finding and testing random products and just building stores on repeat. Personally, I always prefer to just pick products that I can sell for a very long time and dedicate my time to just scaling one brand rather than chase trendy products that just die off and constantly having to test and launch new stores all the time. That's why my products always follow the same criteria, with the last checkbox being the most important one. Number 1, it needs to be evergreen. The thing about these seasonal trendy products is, yeah, you can make like a quick buck selling water guns in the summer, or the latest cool trendy gadget during Q4, or maybe a Valentine's Day product during Valentine's Day. And don't get me wrong, some of these products can scale extremely fast and be profitable. I've ran tons of these products in the past before, but demand drops off a cliff once the season ends, and before you know it, you're building the 10th store that year. But with evergreen products, on the other hand, they can sell year round. They're not tied to a specific season or moment in time, which really lets you build a sustainable brand that you can work on scaling year round. Number 2, it has to solve a real problem. And this one's huge. In my opinion, problem-solving products have a very clear value proposition, which makes my job as a marketer so much easier. But don't get me wrong, products with a cool wow factor, that's a scroll stopper, like a galaxy projector, for example, is definitely, very cool and can sell. But when someone has a real, genuine problem and your product solves it, I feel like the copywriting just practically writes itself. You're not really trying to make the coolest looking creative that, really wow someone. You just really need to make creatives that show and convince someone that your product is the best solution for whatever their problem is. And as a little bonus, products that solve real problem can have premium prices. People don't really mind paying more when they're getting actual value, especially when it solves a real painful problem that they have. That means way better margin for you, which gives you more room to scale profitably. Number 3, high lifetime value potential. LTV, or lifetime value, is everything when it comes to my scaling strategy that I'll be showing you later in this video. If a problem has strong LTV, profitability becomes easier and scaling becomes predictable. Here's how I think about it. When I'm running ads, I'm not just trying to pay for a sale. I want to be paying for a customer, and there's a massive difference. A sale is a one-time transaction. A customer is someone who might come back and buy again and again. High LTV products make this possible through repeat purchases. If you're able to incorporate something like subscriptions, which creates predictable recurring revenue, the entire math of your business changes. That's when you can start spending more upfront to acquire customers, because you'll know they'll be worth 2, 3, 4, or even 5 times that initial purchase. And that's when scaling really stops feeling risky and starts feeling inevitable. 4, if the product is in a red ocean niche. Now, this might sound counterintuitive. Everyone on YouTube probably talks about finding some blue ocean or how to find some untapped winning product with no competition. But the problem with a blue ocean is there's no proof that there's demand. You're essentially gambling that people want what you're selling. Chances are, if you're a complete beginner, that random untapped AliExpress product that you found isn't going to be some insane winner. And chances are you don't even really know what a real untapped winning product even looks like. The blue blue ocean strategy only works if you're gonna really create something completely new to the market, but even then, there's a lot more inherent risk in my opinion. Personally, I much rather be in a red ocean, a very competitive niche where proven winners already exist and there's tons of demand already. Competition validates demand. If other people are making money selling similar products, you know that there's a market there. You know people are actively buying, and that just makes it so much easier to scale because you're not trying to create demand from scratch. You're just capturing a piece of the existing demand. But the main thing here is you need to differentiate yourself in the red ocean niches by using one of these strategies. Strategy number 1, target a different ideal customer persona. A perfect example is Primal Queen. They sell beef organ supplements, which are typically marketed towards men, but Primal Queen flipped it around and marketed towards women instead. The exact same product, but they're targeting a different persona and niche, which allowed them to scale to over 9 figures doing this. Strategy number 2 is arbitrage. This one's pretty straightforward, but really effective. You can just take a winning product from one platform and bring it to another, since technically you're targeting a different audience because different platforms have different user bases. For example, you might find something crushing it on TikTok and you bring it to Meta, or you bring it to Google. Another great example of arbitrage is you can take a winning product that's doing extremely well in the US and market it to Europe or specific, smaller European countries, or, maybe Australia, New Zealand, or whatever other country. And this is something that a lot of European dropshippers do all the time. They can literally just copy what's working in the US and just localize it for their market. Same product, but you're just marketing it to a different geo. Stage 3, introducing a unique mechanism. Introducing a unique mechanism can be a new delivery method, introducing a proprietary or different ingredients from your competitors, or just whatever overall approach that really separates you from your competitors. A classic example would be creatine, right? Creatine's been around forever. It's one of the most saturated supplement out there. But whatever brand was the first to introduce a unique mechanism, like turning creatine into gummies, which is just a new delivery method, the same old product feels brand new and opens up a massive market. I mean, you can just literally just look on Amazon and see how many creatine gummy brands there are nowadays. Another quick example would be Grunz. They essentially just copied AG1 athletic greens but turned green powder into green gummies, and now Grunz is a 9-figure brand that's done over 300 mil in rev. Another good example is Cupid fragrances. The cologne market is insanely competitive, but Cupid differentiated themselves by claiming some proprietary unique formula. They infuse their colognes with something they call like the Pheromone VXN, which is their proprietary pheromone formula, and they claim it makes women more attracted to their customers. Now, whether that's scientifically valid or just marketing, it doesn't really matter. The point is, they introduce a unique mechanism by claiming that they have this proprietary unique formula, and that sets them apart from other cologne brands out there. Overall, those are all the various strategies that you can use to differentiate yourself from your competitors. Now that you have an idea of what kind of products I'm looking for, what you really need to do is this next step, which is module number 2, researching and validating products. Speaking from experience, if you try to launch stores without doing this part, you'll be wasting months just testing random products and burn out before you ever find something worth scaling. But if you know how to do proper research and validate correctly, you can cut that guessing in half and find winners much faster. Think about this for a second. Do you think the biggest e-commerce brands on the internet grew from just guessing what products to sell? Or do you think they did extensive research before dumping thousands of dollars and weeks or months into inventory, ads, and development? Obviously, they did the research. And if you plan on taking this seriously, you need to also do the same. Now, the goal of research is to confirm: 1, is there real demand? I'm looking for red ocean niches, products with tons of demand, tons of competitors selling it, not a dead ocean. Number 2, can I differentiate? Can I make this product better, position it differently, or more compelling to whatever ICP that I'm targeting? One good way is to use Calidata to find current winning products. But I'm not using it to rip the top TikTok shop product 101 like a majority of beginners do. I'm just simply trying to research what has a lot of demand in the market and try to figure out how I can actually differentiate from my competitors, not copy and rip products 101 on Calidata. Anyways, the first method I would use here is to filter launch dates for the last 30 days with over 30% growth rate. And from this, you can see what has launched recently and what has been scaling fast. But one way I like to differentiate from everyone else doing product research is using the second method, the TikTok method. To do this, just simply make a new TikTok account, and every time you're scrolling and you see an interesting product, like that video. What happens over time is the algorithm is going to pick up on this and start showing you more and more product focused content. You're basically training TikTok algo to just feed you winning product opportunities. Now, when you're looking through these videos, you want to focus on products where the video one went viral recently, and I mean within the last 1 to 2 months. And number two, make sure you're really reading the comments and see if it's a product that has real demand and the people that are commenting sound like they really want the product. You can also read the comments on these TikTok shops to get more information on the product in general, what their pain points are, what people love about the product, or potentially what's even wrong with it or what could be improved. And this is just free market research handed to you to see how you can differentiate yourself and execute this product better than your competitors. Personally, I like this way too because it validates demand through the views, likes, and comments. And at the same time, it's not going to be the same product on page 1 of Calidata that everyone is looking at. So after you have a good idea of a product that you're interested in and has proven demand from TikTok, take that product and look it up on Facebook Ads Library. You want to check to see if there's competitors actually running ads and scaling this product. And if you see multiple brands running a bunch of ads, I'm saying 60 plus creatives for the same product, that's a great sign. I'd even check the similar web of these stores to see if they're doing at least 50K plus monthly visitors as well. If not, there really needs to be some stores testing at least 50 plus creatives on Facebook Ads Library, because if you see this, it definitely means that there's proven demand and people are actively marketing the product. All right. So now I'll be walking you guys through how I use spy tools like Calidata or use the Facebook Ads Library to find and validate winning products. So one of the first things I'm going to do is go to categories. You can also sort by products, but what I personally like to do is choose the health category. You're more than welcome to choose any other categories you like or just look at products overall, but I personally like the health category. And what I'm going to do next is choose product rank. And what I like to do here is choose a specific revenue growth rate of 30% or more. And I like to choose a launch date within the last 30 days and go from here. So first off is you're going to see a bunch of products. Some of these products are just massive big brands like Liquid IV, but we're going to try to find something where it's maybe not by some massive 8-9 figure brand that's running it up on TikTok shop. So the first product that catches my eye is this Quiz Fizz, never heard of this brand, Soursop Bitter Liquid Drops. 10-1, we can see here that they're doing decent revenue and it just launched. I personally don't even know what this product does. I know soursop is some sort of fruit, and what we're gonna do is just see if this has demand. So what I like to do next is search the product on Facebook Ads Library. Once you have Facebook Ads Library open up, I like to just type in soursop, and you can look it up in the USA market. That's typically what I like to do, and just start browsing to try to see if we can find a product. This says soursop bitter blend. So this is pretty much the same product, and we can see here that this is Soursop Bitters, exact same product. Obviously the packaging is different, but the exact same product as the product we found on Calidata, and they're selling this buy one get one for 59 bucks. This is a pretty decent looking landing page. So let's see how they're actually doing. Open up their profile and let's see how many ads they're running it up. Wow. So you can see here they're doing over 420 active ads. They're scaling this product pretty hard. There's similar web, and you can see they're doing almost 300K a month monthly visitors. So you can see, so this brand is clearly scaling based off their similar web. Is increasing month over month. They're doing over 100K monthly visitors, and they're running a lot of ads. A lot of ads. Looks like they're running image statics too. 70 years of gut parasites gone in 14 days. Looks like they're even doing partnership ads when you see another person. So these guys are definitely scaling. I'm just gonna look just a little bit more to see if there's anyone else scaling this product. Looks like here, Soursop Natural Drops. Just from looking at this, I can tell this is a dropshipping theme. Let's see how many monthly visitors. So it looks like this person just started testing this product. Let's see how much ads they're running. Oh, 84 results. Okay. And let's see how long ago did they launch. Wow. So they've been running this product since October 13th, and they have 84 results. So they're actively, you know, you can see here they just launched this ad. It's only been active for 8 hours. So right now I would say this product definitely has demand, right? We found one big store that's really scaling it, and we found some other competitors that are running it for a while as well. Like the store, they've been running since October 13th, and it looks like a dropshipping store for sure. And it's The product is obviously doing well on TikTok Shop, just launched in the last 30 days and doing pretty decent revenue. So I would say the demand is pretty much all there. Now, we're not done just yet. Once we found a product with proven demand from TikTok plus other competitors selling the same product on Meta, I'll actually start doing deep research on the product, my competitors, and the potential ICP I'll be targeting. And by the way, if you want this AI prompt, you can just grab it for free in the description. All right, so I'm going to be showing you how I use Google Gemini to do deep research on my product, my competitors, and really dive deep into what potential ICP that I could target for my product. So what I'm going to do is just copy this prompt and just copy and paste it here. Scroll back all the way to the top to what I have to fill out. So I'll be doing research on this soursop product. So I'll be copy and pasting my competitor's link. And for here, it says product category. So my product category is soursop supplement space in the USA. Product category is soursop bitters supplement, and just link my competitor's page. And on Amazon, I obviously see the exact product, but I'm just going to try to see if anyone else has a lot of orders. All right, well, these guys just kind of seem like they might be the goats. So we're just going to have to take their product link and copy and paste it here. And then I'll just press submit, and we'll just let everything blast. All right. Now that everything finished with the deep research, you can just click export to docs. So here's the finalized deep research documents. So you can see here, it talks everything about, the product, the surface desires that people have, like bloating relief, regularity, energy boost, detoxification, sleep support, the transformation outcome on what they want to get, like a flatter stomach, looser waistband, predictable morning bowel movements, and relief from constipation, sustained alertness without jitters or anxiety. And you can kind of see here exactly what type of desires and the intensity of these desires and specific words that the ICP is using themselves in reviews. And this has a bunch of information about what type of ICPs that we can potentially target, and 9-day transformation trajectory. And pretty much this deep research will contain a majority of what I need to actually read and just better understand my ICP and their mass desires, their emotional drivers, and what words they're exactly using. Then, with all of this research we've done through TikTok, Facebook ads library, and doing deep research using AI, we should know by now if the product has demand and if we're able to differentiate at all from our competitors. But finally, and most importantly, you want to make sure you can actually profitably sell this product. What I mean is the unit economics have to make sense. Before you commit, you absolutely need to figure out the unit economics. I'm talking about the landed cost of goods, which is the cost it takes to get the product fully delivered to your customer, which is like, the manufacturing costs, shipping costs, handling fees, etc. And to find out your landed cost of goods, if you're just drop shipping, well, the supplier should tell you the price completely, what it costs to, ship it to whatever customer. But if you're manufacturing a custom product, then you'll need to calculate the shipping prices and, of course, the cost of goods to manufacture it. Either method works, but here's my rule. I want products where I can mark up for at least 3 times minimum. So if my cost of goods is $10, then I need to be able to sell it for at least $30 or more. That markup gives me the margin and cushion I need to actually acquire customers profitably. Also, I don't like selling products under $30 in general as another rule of thumb, especially if there's no real way to get my AOV up. Selling really low AOV products typically leave you with absolutely no cushion to comfortably scale. When margins are strong, it really gives you room to breathe, test, and actually grow. Only time where I would sell a product that's sub $30 would have to be something where I can do stuff like quantity breaks to make people buy multiple of it and have really strong upsells in general, because the goal is to get your average order value as high as possible. After all, overall, margin is everything. It's what gives you room to acquire customers, to test creatives, and to scale. And by the way, this is the exact blueprint I gave to my mentee, Anthony, who came to me struggling to start e-commerce, but now has a brand that he's scaled all the way to $1 million in rev this past year. So if you also want to learn the same way he did, for someone who is actively in the game and has scaled multiple stores past 7 figures just in the past year, you can click the top link in the description to apply. And this is for everyone, no matter what stage you're at. So whether you're a complete beginner or looking to scale your store from 10K a month to 100K a month, this mentorship is for you. So now that you know how to find, research, and validate products, you need to know how to build a product page that actually converts. Module 3, store setup. One of the most overlooked parts of scaling is the store itself. A lot of people think that as long as it looks decent and the product's good, that's enough. But from my experience, this isn't true. One part that beginners really mess up on is the store setup, or specifically their product page. Beginners typically don't even know about CRO, or conversion rate optimization, or how to make a high converting landing page. The biggest problems a lot of people have is 1, focusing too much on design and not about whether it actually converts. 2, they don't really know what a good product page structure even is. And 3, use really boring product images that just show the product and not really explain the benefits of the product right away. Or number 4, just overall have really bad copywriting that just focuses on features instead of benefits, and the copy doesn't actually resonate with ICP. Overall, even if you have a great product, if your offer and product page sucks, then you're probably not going to be able to convert anyone. So to make a high converting product page, I would highly recommend you just go with a proven high converting theme. So Elixir has been extremely popular lately. It's currently quite trendy in the dropshipping space. I would actually recommend you guys consider using Elixir or Shrine, another proven theme. And the reason why Elixir is particularly good is because, for example, let's just look at one of their demo stores. We're gonna click here, click shop now, and you can see the product page. They have pretty much everything you need already. You literally can just install this theme and just take a screenshot of whatever section you want to have Claude write copy for you, and you're pretty much done and ready to test. The only thing I would recommend is doing really high converting product images. So the above the fold section, which is if we go on mobile, activate mobile view, is gonna be this very first section that that you pretty much see right away. And a majority of people don't really scroll past this at all. They might top out at like honestly here. Who knows? What I would recommend is making sure you're above the fold section, extremely high converting. So what I would do is take a look at a brand like IM8, right? They have extremely high converting product images. So you can see over here, they have their hero image with all these certifications, and then one product images shows all the statistics about the benefits that you're going to receive, like more energy, healthier gut, better sleep, perform 75% sharper. It shows that how their product replaces 16 supplements. You only need this one serving to replace all these 16 supplements. Ingredient list, obviously, if you're selling any consumable, and us versus them product image is extremely well. And then you can eventually put in like a nice lifestyle image, how to use image and whatnot. But the goal is try to convey as much information and convert people right out the gate. So like I said, if you just look at the above the fold section here, you can see immediately like, all these high converting product images, reviews, statistics right away, a lot of social proof, easy to understand like benefits just right off the bat, all these certifications, why the results matter, and proof that they're backed by very renowned experts, apparently. 30-day money back guarantee, ingredients, third-party tested, how to use, tasting notes, and a little bit more social proof. Like all this is extremely optimized already and will convert. And you just need something as good as this and you'll be pretty much good to go. And obviously these other sections are all important too, but like I said, I would focus heavily on the above the fold section first. Module 4, traffic. Now, obviously, in order to get sales, we need to get people onto our website. And the best way to do this is with meta ads. It's pretty much always going to be one of the best ways to scale your product. Almost every massive e-commerce brand scale primarily through meta ads. And you can legitimately get to 7 figures with just meta ads alone. But the other popular way to get traffic is with organic marketing. Think posting viral IG reels or TikTok videos, for example. And most beginners just really want a bunch of guarantees before spending any money on their brand. So instead of running ads, they might try and do organic marketing. But the problem with organic is it can be super inconsistent, and you only make money if you can go viral and generate a lot of traffic. You might go viral one month, but but if you fail to go viral again the next month, your store just stops making money. So if you're trying to scale a brand seriously, why would you rely on something inconsistent when there's a way better option in front of you? So I'm going to run you through my entire Facebook ad strategy that I use on all of my 7-figure brands and show you how exactly I set up my campaign. All right, so I'll be going over the best way to launch and scale Facebook ads in 2026. Quick proof of some revenue numbers I've done. So let's talk account structure. I would highly recommend, if you're a complete beginner, to do a CBO testing campaign. CBO stands for campaign budget optimization, where you essentially just set the budget at the campaign level. And what I would do is you can just start off with one ad set, and I would separate these ad sets by creative concepts. So for example, if I'm trying to test out like an easy example would be like maybe targeting like menopause women or whatever, I would definitely make an ad set just for that in my first batch of creatives. And then if I were to try to target a different avatar or try a completely different format, like instead of a UGC testimonial, I try like a unboxing video or like a cartoon AI UGC format or a podcast format, right? Whatever it is, I would just create a new ad set for every new concept that I test. And I would include at least 3 to 6 creatives in each ad set. And you can just make each creative just variations of each other with like, different hooks or body or whatever it may be. But I would typically just separate every creative concept that I test by ad set. And then whenever you launch a new ad set, I would set the minimum spend to be at least $10, just so that when new ad sets are being launched and tested, they get this minimum spend, so they actually get some spend. Sometimes when you launch a new ad set and you don't set a minimum spend, it might not get any spend at all, because Meta will typically prioritize these older ad sets with a bunch of engagement already. So doing this type of account structure keeps your account structure on Meta extremely simple. You really only need to adjust budget on one thing, which is this campaign. And like I said, I always separate ad sets by concepts, but I also separate based on video or image creatives into different ad sets as well. So if I'm testing a bunch of video creative ideas, I'll make that one ad set. And if I'm testing image statics, then I'll make a different ad set for that as well. And this structure really allows you to mass test creatives with lower risk, since if it is a bad creative, it might not get any spend. For every new product test, I would simply just launch a new campaign for it. I would separate products by campaign. And if I target other geos like Canada, New Zealand, Australia, or UK, you can group those geos into one campaign if you really want, but I do prefer to just separate countries by their own campaign. I would also highly recommend you do this ad account structure if you are spending less than 1K a day, and especially if you're just a beginner and you have a low creative hit rate. You don't really want to do ABOs because you might just risk blowing money on testing a bunch of creatives that don't really convert. So if you have a low creative hit rate, I would highly recommend you just stick to CBOs and not consider doing ABOs. And I don't do any manual bids like cost caps or bid caps for this testing campaign. I always set it to lowest cost, highest volume, since I think Meta is way better at finding winning creatives when not using manual bids. Since typically if you do manual bids, it can lead to less spend and less impressions for Meta to find winners. Now, that being said, I do have a CBO scaling campaign, which is optional, but highly recommended. You can just scale everything in just that original CBO creative testing campaign, but I do like to have a CBO scaling campaign as well. So what I would do, just have one ad set where is just essentially my image static winner ad set, and I will do manual bids such as bid caps or cost caps. I prefer bid caps usually, and I'll set it to my target CPA just to start, just to get some initial spend, and I'll just put in all my winning creatives into this ad set, and then I'll have a video winners ad set as well. And same thing, just set my bid caps to cost caps to whatever my target CPA is, and just put all the winning creatives in there. You can just duplicate them into there, and you can just take the winners every week and just slot them in. And what you can do is you can even set these bid caps or cost caps targets to be even higher than your target CPA, since if you really think about it, all of these are winning creatives. So the CPA can't really be that bad on them. But if you feel like the results you're getting aren't quite good, then you can always just lower the bid or even increase it if it's extremely profitable, along with increasing your budget. And I would say for most beginners, I would just stick to this CBO testing campaign. I would only do ABO testing if you're more experienced and you're spending probably way more than $1,000 a day on ads and you have a high creative hit rate. So like I said, for beginners, I would just completely stick to this method. Module number 5, testing. One of the most valuable skills in e-com is knowing how to test a product without risking a bunch of upfront inventory or committing to a huge MOQ order. And this method can potentially save you a bunch of time and money. So what a lot of beginners might do is they make the mistake of going all in on a product before it's even been validated. They'll risk thousands of dollars placing a big MOQ order with a supplier. They might spend hours building a store, making creatives, branding it, only to find out that the product just doesn't sell or you can't run ads profitably for it. And I've seen this firsthand with students who come to me after they burn cash and time on products they haven't validated properly. They were just trying to build a brand around every product they tested and they just burn out fast and give up on ecom. But once they started using the system, they can test profitably with minimal risk and only scale the winners. So after you pick out a product that's validated, you want to decide if you want to dropship or manufacture this custom product. But once you figure that out, what you're going to do before you do any MOQ order, if you plan to manufacture the product, is just simply set up your PDP or product page and potentially the homepage as well. And that's pretty much it. We're just gonna make a high converting product page and you don't really need to worry about anything else, like, an email pop-up form to set up like email marketing flows or install a bunch of apps. And I don't even make pre-sale pages when just initially testing a product, since I'm not even sure what the exact angle or ICP will even convert the best. Once I find something that at least kind of works, then I'll consider making a pre-sale page like a avatar or listicle around that angle and avatar just to better optimize my ads. First thing you should do is create a swipe file of trending creatives that you see a lot of big e-commerce brands, even if they're in different niches or industries, because there's a lot of formats that tons of brands do regardless of their niche or industry. Like, for example, the I'm sorry format right here. I'd be copying that image static format, but have the copy really fit my brand. And the copy for your creatives can be written by Claude, but you have to make sure you give Claude a lot of proper context and information about your ICP, competitors, your exact product that you're selling, your offer, your product page and whatnot. And another type of creative format that you can do is native image ads. And those can definitely do well, especially if you're selling a more problem-solving products that's targeting older people. I would definitely test out native image ads if you can. You should also test video creatives as well. If you can get a sample of your product through whatever manufacturer you plan on going with, whether it's to manufacture a product or dropship from, you should definitely get that sent to you and record some real custom content. You can also take inspiration from video creatives similarly from these massive e-commerce brands that you research on Meta Ads Library and just make the same swipe file like you did for image statics, but for videos. Or you can just learn and copy from the top affiliate videos on Calidata. On Calidata, you can pretty much see the top affiliate videos for a lot of these trending products, and you can really see what type of format is really trending and really working right now. So I would definitely take a lot of inspiration from Calidata affiliate videos. You also have the option to make AI UGC. You could try sites like HeyGen or ArcAds to help you make some AI video creatives. You can also use Kling. If you get Higgsfield, you'll pretty much have access to Nano Banana Pro and Kling or Sora 2. You can definitely leverage all those to make very good AI UGC video creatives. You can also definitely do a lot of the editing yourself using just CapCut in the beginning. Now, after you made the site and made these creatives, it's obviously time to start running some meta ads. I would typically just start between $50 to $100 per day in ad spend. And at this point, all you're really trying to see here is what your CPA might be. That number will tell you everything you need to know about whether you can profitably market this product. You just want to see if you can run these ads and potentially be first order profitable or at least break even during this initial test. Since if you can do that, then that's a pretty good sign that you can run with this product and really scale it, especially since in the beginning, your creative, your offer, and your funnel just isn't very optimized yet. So if you're able to be first order profitable or at least break even during the initial testing phase, then I think that's a really good sign. I would just typically spend anywhere from, $300 to $500 in testing. If you're not really getting any sale by like $200, $300, you definitely need to either make new creatives, prove your funnel, or maybe just consider testing another product if you can't really make it work. I think some beginners, they tend to get too attached to a product and really try to force it or give up too early. If you spend around $300 to $500 as a beginner and you can't really crack this product, I would consider kind of moving on. If you're a little bit more experienced and you know that you're making very high converting product pages, you're making amazing creatives, you tested a bunch of different avatars and you just can't get your product to work, be profitable, or at least break even on the product test, then, similarly, you should probably move on. After the initial test, if you're planning on manufacturing a custom product, if you got some orders, you can just refund them or email the customer saying you're temporarily out of stock and just pause the store while you finish sourcing and manufacturing the product. But if you're just drop shipping, then you can just keep scaling and maybe eventually consider getting some inventory plus using a 3PL to help you fulfill for way better shipping times, improved product quality, and much better customer experience, especially when you have way faster shipping. There's just going to be a lot less angry customers. Now, once you've validated that the product can be sold profitably, the next question is, how do you scale it and build predictable revenue? Module number 6, scaling. This scaling system I'm about to show you is exactly how I scale all of my brand's 7 figures extremely fast. And it's called the 90-day LTV system. And once you understand how this works, it's going to completely how you think about scaling your brand. And here's the thing, lots of brands obsess over making a profit on every single order, but I believe this mindset is exactly what keeps them stuck. And here's the problem with focusing on first order profitability. If your product sells for $50 and it costs you $30 to get that sale, you're making about $20 per sale, a little bit even less after you subtract your product cost of goods. But as soon as you see your CPA rises, let's say it jumps to $50 to get a customer, you might panic and completely stop running ads because now you're just losing money. And you have to keep in mind that CPA will definitely fluctuate with how meta is, and especially since you're selling to real people, it's just natural for CPA to vary day to day. But with my strategy, I'm not focused on first order profitability. I'm focused on 90-day profitability. And this really only works with subscription products or products with a high LTV, which is why I told you to choose a product with high LTV in the very beginning. But the strategy is so powerful because if you think about it, if I know a customer will bring me about $100 in profit over the course of 90 days from rebills, then I'm willing to spend $50, $60, even $80 to acquire a customer for a $50 product, because I know that that same customer is going to bring in $100 in profit over the next 90 days. So just to make things a little bit more clear, let's break down exactly how you can use the 90-day LTV system to scale your store step by step. Phase 1, introducing subscriptions and collecting retention data. So I would start by offering subscriptions for your product, and once you start offering them, you should expect conversion rate to dip slightly, but you have to make sure that your subscription take rate is very high. I'm talking like 60, 70, 80% or even more. At this point, you can still aim for break even or slightly profitable on the first order until your rebills really start to stack. So phase 2, let subscriptions compound, then calculate your 90-day LTV. So as your subscriptions begin to compound month over month, once month 3 hits, you'll start seeing your margins improve dramatically because you're stacking revenue from month 1 customers who are on rebill number 2 and month 2 customers who are on rebill number 1, their first rebill, and first order customers. So your bank account should be looking pretty nice at this point because you should be profitable based on these rebills, and since there's no CPA costs on the rebills essentially. But most importantly, at this stage, you should now have data on what a customer is worth over 90 days. Now you can actually plan and scale using that information. Phase 3, scale ad spend until your day 0 ROAS hit 1.0, which is essentially break even or even lower. So this is when you can go from 1K a day to 5K a day to 10K a day in ad spend, and you're essentially going to be able to start acquiring these customers at a lower break-even ROAS. You can start acquiring them at break-even or below break-even, just at a slight loss, because you know exactly how much these customers are worth over the course of 90 days. And your customers who need to be profitable on day zero, they just can't compete with you anymore because you're gonna just be able to eventually outspend all of them. This is when you can go from 1K a day to 5K a day to 10K a day in ad spend, since you're gonna be able to easily scale your ad budgets because you're able to acquire customers at essentially just break even or even at a loss, because you know exactly how much these customers are worth over the course of 90 days. So your customers who need to be profitable on day zero, they just can't compete with you anymore because you're going to be able to eventually outspend all of them, because you can essentially acquire customers at a loss and at a way higher CPA target than they can. Now, once you start scaling, this can all break very fast if you don't know how to do this very next step. Module number 6, operations and team building. Scaling a brand to 7 figures and beyond doesn't just come down to your product or your creatives. It also comes down to how well you can build systems and a team around you. There's a quote that I always go back to. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. But I understand, when you're first starting out, it's really easy to fall into the trap of doing everything yourself. And to be fair, you should be wearing multiple hats in the beginning, like making your own product page and editing your own creatives and writing your own copy. Because if you don't understand the basic, how will you know if the people you hire are actually doing a good job? For example, if you don't know what a high converting video creative even looks like, or what good editing looks like, you're probably just gonna get rugged by whatever video edit that some random person on Upwork delivers you. But I get it. At a certain point, if you do everything yourself, you'll be the bottleneck. And some people get trapped in this phase forever. You're spending hours replying to customer support emails, editing video creatives, trying to come up with creative concepts all by yourself, and the business isn't gonna be growing. You're just gonna be stuck in the weeds, doing everything yourself and really limiting scale. Phase 1, foundational hires. I would say if you just began scaling your store, one of the first hires you need to make is hiring a customer support VA. This will free up hours of your life, and you can just hire from Upwork, onlinejobs.ph, or anywhere with where you can find qualified virtual assistants. You just have to train them once and teach them how to handle support tickets based on how you really want your brand to operate. The next hire would be a video editor. Editing is really time consuming and extremely low leverage once you're scaling. Obviously, you can just edit everything yourself using CapCut, but I would highly recommend you pass on video editing to a skilled video editor. Just remember, most video editors aren't copywriters or marketers, so you should definitely still own the creative strategy and handle all the creative concepts and the copywriting, and just really have them focus on good visual execution. Phase 2, growth hires. Once you've got the foundational pieces in place, which is, the customer support VAs and video editors, now you can really think about growth hires. And I think a creative strategist would be an amazing growth hire, but it's not always needed. But having a creative strategist can really help you test creatives faster, ideate creatives faster, because you're going to be typically busy on way higher leverage things. Once you've got those foundational pieces in place, you can start thinking about growth hires. A creative strategist would be an amazing growth hire. They can definitely help you come up with new creative concepts that you wouldn't have thought of before, research, creative briefs for your video editors, etc. Having a great creative strategist can really help you take your ad account to the next level, because having good creative output and great creative quality is essential to scaling your meta ads. I'd also recommend hiring someone to handle all your emails and SMS retention marketing. Just get someone to set up all the flows, do campaigns here and there, and do well-branded email designs. You can consider hiring an email marketing agency or hiring an email marketer to just in-house handle all this. And email and SMS, once you're scaled and growing your email list, can bring in a huge amount of money. Phase 3, performance and optimization. Now, this would typically be when you're really scaling. You can consider hiring a CRO specialist to help make sure your funnel, like your product page and whatnot, has the highest conversion rate possible. And their job is just constantly doing A/B tests, making new landing pages, product pages, whatever it may be, to help you increase your conversion rate, your AOV, and just help you make a lot more money based on the traffic that you're bringing to the store. You can even hire a media buyer at this stage. For example, I would consider hiring a media buyer for Google, especially if you're not too skilled field with Google or whatever channels you want to expand into. By now, you pretty much have the same A to Z system I use to scale e-commerce brands from 0 to 7 figures in rev. But if you really want to stop guessing and want direction from someone who has done this over and over again, you can click the top link in the description. I've personally coached people like Anthony who started out from 0 with absolutely no e-commerce or dropshipping knowledge and eventually scaled his first store to over 7 figures in rev. Anyways, thank you for watching.